Here's a little change from our usual mountain hikes with a trip along the coastline. This one took us from Point Dume along the water to Paradise Cove in the Malibu area. The trip started at the parking area for the beach in the Point Dume area and climbed up into the rocky cliffs over the ocean. Some fog out there over the ocean, but generally a very beautiful day. So here's Dale, ready to get us going. And at the start we find this descriptive plaque telling us a little bit about the volcanic cone of Point Dume. And so we get started up into these ancient volcanic rock areas on these well-worn stairs. And then a short ways up we can look down at the beach. Including the public beach, where it seems that not too many bathers have shown up yet. Then the well-defined trail continues its trek on up into these rocky areas. And along the way we do find a few wildflowers still blooming. We also get some pretty nice views of the coastline. We also begin to hear the honking of some seals out there in the ocean. And there they were, perched on these rocks a little ways off the bottom of the cliffs. And then the trail turns into a boardwalk as it works its way along the side hill, where Dale works his way along. Then we take a short side trip up to the very top of Point Dume. And here we find a plaque with some information about Point Dume. And part of it says, on November 24th, 1793, English explorer George Vancouver, commander of an expedition to determine the extent of the settlement of the northwest coast of America, named this rocky promontory Point Dume, after his Franciscan friend, Father Francisco Dume. And from this lookout we can also look down and see the beach that we're going to be traveling down to and along. And on our way down there we run across this sign telling us about tide pools and things not to do, not to disturb them. And the last part of this trip down to the beach involves traversing these rather steep stairs. And once down on the beach we can see these rather adventurous rock climbers. They were even with bare feet. And so the next portion of this hike is along the beach. And here Dale works his way along the beach, listening to the surf. At one point we notice this cave in the side of the cliff along the shore. There are also some access points with some steep stairways and a funicular to get people down to the beach. I think they're private, however. Another shot of this beautiful coastline. Along with one of its residents. Dale stops for a minute to take a look at some of the rock formations of this cliff. As you can see, there are lots of folded and distorted layers. In some cases, these formations are a little bit unstable, and occasionally there are some signs warning about the possibility of falling rock. And always the constant sound of the surf. In a few places, the travel got a little bit touchy and made it very evident that this is not a trip to take at high tide. And then we ran across Monument Valley, where a lot of beachgoers have put up their own little monuments along the way. And then the usual Malibu top-of-the-cliff homes, challenging the environment. And then we reached Paradise Cove, a well-known spot along the Malibu coast. This area includes a restaurant and a swimming beach, and an invitation to sit down and relax. Which we took advantage of. Boy, is this hiking tough. But then, finally, it's time to start on our way back and retrace our steps. And so retrace them we did, including the old man traveling over this rock outcropping along the way. The only way to do it, unless you wanted to get your feet wet in the surf. Turns out this total hike, out and back, is a little over 4 miles. A lot of it along the beach, however. This made for quite a nice change from the usual mountain scenery we go through on these hikes. And again, this is not a trip to take during high tide and high surf times. Or else you'll find a lot more areas to cross, like this one. Unless you want to swim around them. And on the way back, we passed by another one of these rather scary access points to the beach. But then we reach our own stairways to climb on back up to Point Dume. And then a last look at a couple of surfers looking around in the water off the beach. And so ends another quite interesting hike.